For this week, I'm going to talk about community news coverage. First of all, I'd like to kind of talk about the characteristics of community journalism. It's a little different than bigger newspapers such as New York Times would do or LA Times. Community is very intimate, and reporters are, seen as more caring, more personal, and it kind of reflects the community and it tells those stories. And it really has to embrace the leadership role it has. This can be seen, like I said, more focused on small town journalism versus something on a bigger scale. But the reporters truly need to care about community journalism and really promote that civic engagement that is key. That is one of the key features of community journalism, and really recognize the different diversity of viewpoints and make sure that, even though it is the smaller version of journalism, to still show all sides of the story for news purposes. Community coverage online is really important. Newspapers and broadcast is still a key part, but since most things are going online now, newspapers should really expand the type of content they offer, especially for their communities, to really understand what their community needs and wants. This could be like, for example, blogs of local community members. Those could be offered on the website to expand the content. It would be posted under blog just so people know. But online engagement is really important to the future of community journalism. It really shows that its purpose is to engage the community, whether that's in a newspaper setting or an online setting. And up-to-date technology is really a must, like apps for phones. It really needs to be up to date if you're really going to be, quote unquote, a community journalist. Now, a business model for covering the community. Practice of community journalism has actually been around for a long time. People tend to think of it as something new, but it's really not. Local news is what people want. It's something that they've always wanted. You care about what happens in the nation, you care about what happens internationally, but in the end of the day, what's 5 miles away or a quarter mile away affects you more personally. An example of a business model is actually the video that we had this week for class. It's kind of a hybrid nonprofit profit model, which is really interesting. I've never actually seen that yet, and it's been around since 2008 for this particular company, and it could be a business model of the future. I really think it's interesting that they combine nonprofit and profit and are successful at it. I mean, it really could be a model for other journalism organizations to look at for the future. And of course, NPR, National Public Radio, and the Center for Public Integrity have been successful and have been nonprofits for years. Nonprofit ownership and publishing, like I said, isn't new. I mean, the Associated Press has been around since 1846, and they've been successful at nonprofits. So I really think this would be an area of interest and something, maybe I will even pursue at some point, whether in grad school or later, as a journalist. But, since the economy has took a hit on journalism, maybe nonprofit is really where the money can be made and the journalistic integrity can still abound. The real life application, like I said, was the video that we watched this week, the St. Louis Beacon. It's a website. It really focuses on community and digs a lot deeper than, say, the local news can. And it applies new media to help enhance stories, but still focuses on the old. And it's really important to go along with the community and, make sure that they have a good and really just have a solid relationship all around. I'm calling this the burrowing journalist. You really need to live and work in the community cover. You can't really expect to be a community journalist if you simply work in the area but don't live there and really be a part of it in order to report what is going on, to understand it, and convey it to the audience. A lot of people forget that last step, the synthesizing like we are doing here in grad school. You really have to be able to understand and then convey what is actually important. The audience doesn't actually have to live in the community, but can still connect via the internet and still be part of that community journalism. But journalists really should be really involved in the community. So is community journalism the answer? It's kind of hard to say. it demands putting the public interest ahead of profits. And right now, profits are pretty important because we're losing them like crazy, and still needs to be focused. But people need to care if they're going to watch the news and read it, and journalists shouldn't be separated as community as in years past. And it kind of goes back to the characteristics of community journalism that I already talked about, that they really need to care and be involved and close to the community. And this topic is could go on to the whole discussion of citizen journalism, which is a whole different realm. But thanks, guys, for listening. Hope you guys got something out of my topic covering community news.